Hello, welcome back to the pod. Wow, okay, so January has been heavy, very, very heavy for a lot of us, just with, of course, the fires in LA, the recent inauguration, and everything that has followed with that. So I just want to send everyone listening so much love. I feel like me personally, I always live under a rock, which can be looked at as a bad thing, but for me, it's a good thing because it just really keeps me sane and I don't watch the news. I hardly stay up to date on things. I see most of my news updates through social media, but yeah, not saying that's a good or a bad thing. It's just the way I like to operate because it's what keeps me happy. And sometimes I feel like I'm in my own world, but sometimes that's the best way to cope, in my opinion. So, anyways, sending everyone love that has been affected. And yeah, I want to talk about a really important topic when it comes to spirituality. And it's something that's been a really big part of my journey lately. And that is the concept of giving your power away. So I've kind of talked about this. I've hinted at it a few times. As you guys know, you've followed along. If you've been listening for a while, I've talked about my spiritual journey at length. And I've been going through this just massive transformation with it, which I mentioned in a few episodes previous to this one, my spiritual awakening 2.0. But it's been unraveling and unfolding even deeper. And so when I say that I've literally been living under a rock, I really have been. And honestly, my partner, he left for the month to go do a dance training. And I've been by myself in Austin for like a whole week. I'm actually going out of town tomorrow, though, to go back to Arizona to be with family. But I'm just going to be like so real and honest. I have been so lonely. And I was supposed to hang out with a friend and she had to cancel at one point, and I just haven't been able to really connect with anyone in this time that I've been here. Like this past week, I've just been here by myself. And if you're in a relationship and you live with your partner, I think you know that like when they go out of town, it's like, oh, yes, like I get my space, my time, like I can just do whatever I want, whenever I want. Not that like I can't do that when he's here, but I think you know what I mean. And then after 2 days, I'm like, okay, I miss him. So anyways, it's been like, I'm like, okay, now what do I do? Twiddling my thumbs. No, but I've been really looking at it as an opportunity to lean deeper into my faith, because I've had a lot of space to just be and to contemplate and really think about what I want for my life and my career moving forward. And I've already made moves toward that, which I'll share later on. But yeah, I've been really trying to look at this within the loneliness. I've been trying to look at like, how can I see this as an opportunity to deepen my relationship with God? And so it's been actually really beautiful that I have had this time alone and to sit and be with God, because I think for me, what I'm really realizing is that my relationship, my spirituality requires a devotional practice. And it's like, it's something that is very important you have to actively put forth the effort toward a devotional practice with God. It's just like meditating, for example. I meditate every single day, you guys, and I still, if I wake up, first thing I do is I walk my dog, and then I get home. I usually feed him and then make my matcha. But sometimes I like let the morning or the day get away from me, and I don't meditate or do my devotional practices and prayers and sitting with God. And I just feel so frazzled throughout the day and just like empty and unfulfilled. And I notice truly such a big difference when I carve out the time to sit with God. And it still like takes me, like sometimes I still have to like force myself to do it, even though most of the time I'm looking forward to doing it. Every single day is different. And so I'm just being really real and honest about that. But usually I just get back into my bed because it's nice and cozy. And then I read a book, a devotional book. Right now I'm reading Outrageous Openness by Tasha Silver. It's literally changing my life. Could not recommend it even like more. It truly is the most amazing book ever. And I have a bunch of prayers written out that I actually got from that book that I say every single day. And it just helps to remind me that like I can have all of these hopes and these dreams for my life, but ultimately at the end of the day, like it's in God's hands and I am just communing with God and letting God know what I want, and but also trusting that wherever I'm led or whatever comes to me is for my highest and best. And so that is something that I've really been cultivating, is that trust. And it takes time, it takes space, and it takes effort to really cultivate that. So I've really been in that space. I've been taking baths literally every day. It's really funny because anytime I talk to like guys about taking baths, every single one of them has the same response. And they're just like, but aren't you just like sitting in your own filth? Like my partner included. And I'm like, no. First of all, I'm not super dirty. And second of all, I'm in a feminine embodiment container right now. And my mentor, Chelsea, she's like, yeah, baths just really create the space for a woman to just like open and just be. And it's so true. So if you're a woman listening to this and you don't take baths, give it a try, because I promise you, it is so relaxing. It is such a great way to just rest. And for me, I always set the intention to just like connect with God and literally just be, and not expect to hear anything, not try to see anything, just be in my body and just relax. It is so rejuvenating. I take one every single night now. It's rare. It's honestly rare that I don't take one. And it's really cute. My partner and I have been looking for places, new apartments to live. And he's always like, oh, wait, we have to check the bath situation, because he knows how important it is to me. So anyways, I digress. But so that's been a huge part of like where I've been at, is just really developing that trust, and really developing that devotion. And that trust has come with really relying on and trusting in myself. And so I promise I'm getting to the idea and the concept of giving your power away within spirituality, because that has been something that I've struggled with for a long time. Like I just remember, especially at the very beginning of my journey when I started working with an energy healer, um, energy healing is beautiful, and the healers often connect in with your spirit guides and your higher self, and they bring you these really beautiful messages. And all you have to do is lay there and you just get to receive. And it's honestly just so, so amazing and so beautiful. But I really started to notice how dependent I became on the messages that came through. Like I would just be like, okay, I can't wait for my next session so that I can see what they have to say about my life. And I actually really lived in that way, in that grasping energy, for the first few years of honestly, up until last year. Within my spiritual awakening, I had my spiritual awakening in 2021. And up until last year, it was 2024. So for like about 3 years, I was really in that grasping energy of like, what is this healer going to say? What is this intuitive going to say? And like really holding on and like becoming attached to what they told me about my life. And you can see like the best healer and the best intuitive, which I feel really, really blessed and grateful about all the intuitives that I've seen, because they're all really amazing. But what I'm starting to notice is how much, and this is nothing about them, this is all about me, right? Like I've started to notice just how much I've been in a grasping energy and how much that keeps me stuck. And so I feel like I cannot be the only one here. And I think that this happens a lot in the spiritual space, especially when you're just starting out on your spiritual journey. You're like awakening and everything's like, what the fuck? And like, what am I doing here in this world? And like, you just start to become really sensitive to a lot of things. And it can just be really easy because you're like going through it. It can be so easy to just really latch on to external sources for validation. And so, really, like, no judgment here in anything that I'm saying as well. I just think that, like, I'm really offering this as like a point of reflection for, you as the listener, like, on the spiritual journey. Have you been doing, like, start to notice if this has been you at all? And maybe it hasn't been. And if not, then fucking great. But for me, I've been really, really noticing and learning how to like hold myself within big emotions, how to not like dump on people, how to not dump on my best friends, or mainly like my one best friend. Anytime something would happen, I used to always just like dump on her and be like, like couldn't hold my own emotions. And now I'm really I was doing the same thing with intuitives and psychics, like, and I would be like, I need a session. And I would try to get in as soon as possible. And now I'm just like, okay, like I'm really fucking going through it. And I hold myself in that. And I like let myself hold the emotions. And I move through it in my own way. And the best way that I do that is through meditating and journaling, like every single day. And it's been a journey and it's something that I still have to work at. But I've really started to notice, even still, when the thoughts slip back in my mind of like, oh, I just wonder what my energy healer would have to say about this. And I recently, it's interesting because I've always also wanted to learn energy work, how to work with energy. I've never really seen or visualized myself as like an energy healer per se, but as I've just like gone along my journey, I've always intuitively known that I'm going to learn how to work with energy. It's just a matter of like when and with who. And so there's been like multiple opportunities, of course, to learn a few different energy healing modalities. Reiki is probably the most commonly known energy healing modality. But there's been another one that I've been contemplating for a few years, but it just never was the right time or the finances weren't there. And so I just held off. And then finally, at the very end of 2024, my spiritual mentor that I've been working with since August of last year, Carly, she opened up spaces for her healing modality that she actually created and downloaded with Divine. And it is called Q-ERT, Quantum Endoscopic Release Therapy. So it's a form of energy work. You're working in the quantum. But to me, it's different than like regular energy healing, and I'll explain why. But anyways, the opportunity came up at the exact like right price point for me, and I just knew immediately. I was like, this is it. It's time. And so I signed up, and I am currently going through her training of level 1 because there's 2 levels. And I was like, I'm going to jump on. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to bring you guys along for the journey with me, with learning. We're going quantum, people. We're going quantum. Some of you are probably like, what the fuck does that mean? Others probably already know. But yeah, it was so interesting because, we just had our first full like 3-hour immersion around it last week. And it was crazy to me because, Carly's like going through, she's explaining like, what does it mean to go quantum? And I was sitting there and I was like, what does it mean to go quantum? Like, I don't even fucking know. I mean, I know, but I don't know. So anyways, going quantum is basically really connecting into the higher dimensions of self. It's way more in depth than this, but I'm just going to break it down from like the way that I remember it. It's basically connecting into your higher self, It's connecting in to divine and seeing things in the formless, right? Getting to the energetic root of like what is going on. That is what her modality, this healing modality that I'm learning, really accesses. Is it gets to it uses the body, different points in the body, different ailments, illnesses, whatever you have going on in your body, you can bring that into a session and you can get to the energetic root cause of it. And there is an energetic root cause for everything, like literally everything. I'm trying to think of an example. Okay, so like for me, the first time I ever did a Q-ERT session with Carly, I was having a bunch of pain in my left shoulder. And the left side of the body represents maternal, the right side of the body represents paternal, because left side of the body always represents the feminine, right side always represents the masculine, which is so fascinating. And the body never lies. And of course, like I actually didn't even tell Carly that I was having pain in my left shoulder. And we jumped on and she was just like, yeah, your left shoulder, like there's a lot going on there. And I was just like, wow, okay. Of course, she could, read that and feel that from what she was reading in the quantum from like my higher self. And it turned out that there was a lot of healing that needed to be done around my mom and around my maternal lineage, just overall. Left side, left shoulder, behind the heart. So there was a lot there. And so what's really, really beautiful about this modality is that it really helps you look at that ailment or whatever it is that's going on in your body, and it helps you get to the root cause energetic of it, the emotion that's underneath it. Obviously, there's usually a physical component as well. We're not bypassing that by any means, but everything is energy, you guys. Like everything is energy. You know how like when you walk into when somebody walks into a room and if they're super down, like you can just feel their energy. And I feel like more and more people are becoming more just cognizant and aware of the energetics of things, of how things feel, of how people feel, of how situations feel. You know, when you walk into a room or a situation and you just feel intuitively like something's off, I need to not be here, that's energy. And so it's something that is so, it's honestly, it's like the way of the future. I've always said that energy healing is the way of the future because just as we, progress in humanity and society, we're starting to become more sensitive. We're starting to become more cognizant, more aware of energy and how things feel and what this modality does and other energy healing modalities, they work with that energy. And so that's why I think that this modality it's just so important and is so needed. And even other energy healing modalities are as well. But this healing modality, so Carly, I've been working with Carly for a while and she weaves this into all of the work that she's done. And I've even done like sessions specifically around this work. And it's basically like going to talk therapy for like years condensed down into one session because literally you're able to pinpoint the root cause of something and get to the bottom of something. And it's honestly like blows my mind. Like I've gone into sessions being like, whoa, I didn't think we were going to go there, or I didn't even realize that was the reason why something from when I was 5 years old is bothering me now. But I was able to pinpoint it. And the really beautiful part about this, so as I mentioned earlier with like energy healing, other energy healing modalities, the healer is channeling and bringing through all the information for you, and you just get to receive. And you get to receive the energy, and it upgrades your cells. Like there's a lot to it. And it's really, really beautiful. But what makes Q-ERT, this healing modality that I'm learning, different is that the person that's leading the session, facilitating the session, is just facilitating the session. And you are actually the one that is going inward and seeing what's going on. So what I mean by that is that for me, so I'm learning how to facilitate this. Let's say you come and you do a session with me. I'm just intuitively asking you the questions that, need to be asked, but you're going and you're finding out, okay, let's say you're having heartburn. We're looking in your heart space and we're going to see what's the root, what does that look like? What does that feel like? And you're telling me what it looks and feels like. And then I'm asking you, okay, does this energy belong to you? And you're telling me if it belongs to you or not. And let's say if it doesn't belong to you, then I'm asking you, okay, who does it belong to? And you're telling me who it belongs to. And so I'm just the one guiding you, but you're the one giving me all the answers. And so this is what really makes it different from other energy healing modalities, because it's really putting you in the driver's seat and it's really empowering you as your own healer. And it's bringing you deeper within yourself. And that is what is so key on the spiritual journey, is remembering that no matter what, the answers are always within you. They are always within you. And you don't need to grasp outside of yourself to know if that relationship is the right relationship for you, or if you should move to that state, or if you should leave that job. You know the answer. And usually, there's a lot of reasons why we think we don't know. There can be other people's energies really muddled into your own, so you can't think or feel clearly. And that's where this modality would really help to clear that away. Or maybe you're scared. Maybe you know that that relationship isn't the right relationship for you, but you're too scared to look at that. And that's something that, we can address and we can look at. And here's the thing though, is that you're never going to go into a session and you're never going to learn something or feel something or see something that you're not ready to look at and heal. And that is something that is really, really important as well, because you need to be ready for whatever it is that's going to come up. And I have certainly had people or intuitives tell me things that I was not ready for. And it put me into a triggering downward spiral, because I was like, what? No, I can't, that can't happen. What will I do? And, specifically this one intuitive, she wasn't formally trained, and she told me something, and it really, really, really put me in a downward spiral. And, you have to really understand that there's ethics involved in this type of work. And so you have to, as an intuitive, be able to know what is meant for the client at that point in their life and what is not. And so in this modality, as you're the one that's turning inward, you're never going to see something that you're not ready for. You're never going to have to heal something that you're not ready to heal. For me, I healed something last year that was the deepest trauma I've ever had. And in my first few sessions, in the first time I ever did this modality and any other energy healing work, that never came up. A lot of other things came up that weren't that deep rooted, because I wasn't ready for that until last year is when I was ready for it. So it will all come up exactly as it's meant to. And it's really just trusting that. And so what I love about the way that these types of sessions are facilitated is that it brings you back to that empowerment. It brings you back to you literally are learning how to trust yourself in the session. And I remember one session that I had with Carly. She was facilitating me inward, and she was asking me questions like the ones that I just gave you, and I was telling her everything. I just knew you have to just trust whatever comes to you, that's exactly what it is, and you'll feel it. And I started to doubt myself, and she was asking me questions, and I was just like, I feel like I'm just making this up. I feel like I'm just imagining this. And she was like, well, you are imagining it, but the imagination is that is your connection to God. That is your connection to source. And what you're feeling What's coming through to you is your imagination, but you're not making it up. It's your connection to source. And so I was like, okay, wow, I can trust myself. And that really helped me with, like, honestly, outside of that session, just moving forward, still to this day, this was like months ago. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm feeling this. I'm thinking this. Oh, yep, that's my intuition. Oh, yep, I can trust myself. I don't have to doubt myself for receiving that from going inward. And so that is what I told Carly. I remember, I don't know how long after that session, but I just remember telling her, and after doing, a long form one-on-one container with her, I just remember telling her, like, you have really empowered me. Like, you've supported me, obviously, but you've empowered me to, like, hold myself. And, like, I feel like I'm walking away from this container almost like having, like, spiritual maturity in a way where I don't feel like I need to, like, grasp and call a healer when anything really challenging comes up, because a lot of challenging things have been coming up in my life lately, in my personal life, career, all of the things. And I've been really noticing just how grounded and how calm I've been because I've been able to hold myself through that. Doesn't make it easier, or it doesn't make it easy, but it does make it like a smoother ride. And I can tell you that it's been the best thing ever for my relationship. My boyfriend has reflected to me that, like, I'm the most grounded I've ever been. And part of it is this work that I've been doing with this modality and with Carly, but it's also a lot of what I've been doing in my feminine embodiment program as well, which I'll talk about in another episode, and healing my relationship to the masculine, and my daily devotion, sitting with God, praying and meaning it. And these are all coming together, and these are just helping me to remember that, like, I actually am my own healer. And I think that that's something that's really, really important to remember in the spiritual space. And this isn't to say, like, never seek out help, never seek out a guide, never seek out a psychic or an intuitive. The difference, and I want to give Carly credit here because she pointed this out as she was teaching us her modality. She's like, it's not like you're never going to seek out support or need support. But the difference is that you need to be doing the work on yourself first. You need to be turning inward first, so that when you do go and you seek support, you know how to guide yourself and how to hold yourself within that. And it's going to make it so much clearer where whatever messages you need to receive, and, like, the intuitive that is holding you in that space, it really is honestly just an opportunity for them to confirm what you already know within yourself. And so this is such an important piece of the spiritual journey. And this is a huge reason why so many people stay stuck, why so many people stay stuck in cycles, why so many people are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on healing and sessions. And, like, I myself have been there. And I remember even, like, questioning, like, why has my spirituality not gotten me further? Like, why? I remember it was before I started working with Carly last year. It was before I found the feminine embodiment program that I'm in. It was like toward the beginning of last year. I remember I was on the phone with my mom and I was crying. And I was just like, why? I've been on this spiritual journey for like 3 years at this point. Why do I still feel like I'm in despair and like everything is out of like, I just can't have the life that I want and everything is so hard? And this was why. Because I was outsourcing my power. I was expecting intuitives to tell me what to do with my life. And also, I was forcing things. I wasn't tuning inward. I wasn't listening to myself. I was moving forward from this place of like anxiety, like differentiating between the ego and the soul is another layer, and is something that I've really been learning in discernment in my feminine embodiment program, is really understanding the difference. between acting from your intuition and acting from your ego. And for me, how I know when I'm acting from my intuition or pure guidance, heart-led guidance, is when I feel calm and when I feel detached from the outcome. Like I can apply to a job and I can be like, cool, I don't need this. I don't need this. I'm not going to attach myself to getting it, but I'm going to stay open and I'll apply and we'll see what happens. And then I let it go. And so, whereas the ego is like, I have to get this done immediately. I have to put this episode out immediately. I have to apply to this job immediately. And oh my gosh, if I don't get it, it's like the end of the world and I'm hyperventilating. Like, I can't tell you guys how many times I've done that shit. Truly. And, it's just, I'm just really coming into this again. It really is like a spiritual maturity. And I really feel like I'm just coming into this. I'm coming into myself. I'm coming into trusting myself as my guide, communing with God regularly. There's so many like different things that I think this is why I created this podcast, was to share like what works for me, when it comes to different tools and modalities, because there are going to be a lot of different access points that help you on your journey. And it's really up to you to figure out what works for you. Just like a diet, like when you're eating and figuring out what kind of diet works best for your body. Like what works best for me isn't going to be what works best for you. You have to kind of trial and error things. See what your body likes, what your body doesn't like. Just because something's healthy doesn't mean that your body's going to like it. It's the same situation with spirituality. You really have to just try things out, test the waters. But for me, so my point in sharing that is like I've had, multiple different things. This modality that I've been learning from Carly that I'm really excited about, my feminine embodiment program, which again, I'm going to share more on that. And then my daily devotion with God and the prayers and what I'm learning from the book Outrageous Openness by Tasha Silver. Those have all been really working together in my life right now to really ground me into this state of just like coming back home to myself, trusting myself as my guide. And again, it's something that I am continually working at every single day. I still have moments like I remember, like, I think it was almost 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, I was going through something in my relationship and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do like voice support with Carly and I want to hear what she has to say about it. And then I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Chill, sister. And I went for a walk. I took a bath. I journaled. I meditated. And the next day I was like, I'm good. Like, yeah, would I love some support around this? Probably. But I'm good either way. And that's detachment, which is like a whole nother story as well. And I've alluded to that too. So I really would encourage you to just think about if there's anywhere within your own spiritual journey that you're giving your power away. And the best way to identify this is, where are you in a grasping energy? Where do you feel like, oh, I just need to know this answer. I just need someone to tell me this. All right. Or where are you grasping an outcome? I just need this to happen. I just need to get that job and then I'll be happy. I just need to make this amount of money and then I'll be happy. This, at the end of the day, if you're feeling that way and you're feeling like something is just so out of your reach and you're feeling in pain or unhappy because of it, that is something to look at. And at the end of the day, I've said this before, a spiritual journey should bring you peace, internal peace. Like, yeah, you're going to fucking go through it. But when you're really connected to God and you're really connected to yourself, you trust yourself. And trusting yourself is trusting God. So I think that's all I want to share for now. But I'm in the middle of learning this really beautiful modality. Again, it's called Quantum Endoscopic Release Therapy. And I'm probably going to be opening up sessions. I don't know. We'll see. I was doing it more so to be able to facilitate myself through things, to be able to facilitate my friends and family through things. But after our first immersion, just really feeling into how this has helped me so much and how much it can help others, I really think that um, I will, well, we'll see. But it's going to be interwoven into my work in some way or another. So stay tuned for that. And I will definitely let you guys know more updates. The rest of my training is coming up next week at the time of this recording. So I will definitely let you guys know. But if you have any questions for me, of course, as always, find me on Instagram or email the show. Email is in the show notes. And until next time, thanks for listening, you guys.